Alrighty, we've got a Sunday daily, which means some of the features from the campaigns are present. Some of these twists that you wouldn't normally see in a Dominion Kingdom. Include Head Start, and each player starts with an overgrown estate, a necropolis, a lurker, and 7 copper. So that looks like a shelter's start, except in place of the hovel, you get a free lurker. Okay. Very similar to what you'd get with the trait Inherited from Plunder being on the lurker's pile. I think hovel's usually the shelter that you would replace if given the choice. And then Head Start. Human gets 2 extra turns at the start. AI gets 10 VP tokens. Seems that the AI is really getting the short end of the stick in that exchange. I'm taking the 2 extra turns, no question. Especially, this kingdom looks strong. Being 2 turns behind seems horrible. We do have Colony and Platinum, that's worth noting. I don't think that's going to be the most important thing here, though. So, draw is going to be the trickiest part. You can draw a bunch of cards by overpaying with Farrier for a bunch of money to have a large starting hand. There's no discard attacks here that would counter that. And then King's Court, it's much better at being a village than being draw, but technically it's draw, unlike other throne rooms. If you play King's Court on a fortress, for example, you played 2 cards, you draw 3 cards, your hand size will be increasing after that. King's Court is a good village. Fortress is also a village. Trashing. Souk on gain can trash 2 cards. Forager trashes. Transmogrify can deal with the shelters. Plus buy. We got Souk, Forager, Farrier. Lurker can gain things. Transmogrify can gain things. Forum actually can be plus buy here. Normally if you buy Forum, you're just breaking even on buys. But if you gain it without buying it, you still get the +1 buy, and then you're net increasing your buys for the turn. So imagine transmogrifying a fortress into Forum, for example, or lurking a Forum from the trash. That could be extra plus buys as well. So draw looks like the tricky part, but otherwise we got a lot of strong stuff. We got Tomb, which incentivizes a lot of trashing. And then Continue, I think, is situationally often a very strong thing to buy. Okay, so this kingdom just has a bunch of cards that do weird stuff and often have interesting synergies. And so I think it's probably worth thinking about for a second to make sure I'm not missing anything. For example, Fortress can often be busted with the right cards. Here we've got some good synergy with Transmogrify. If you have a Fortress in your starting hand, you can Transmogrify it, gain a 5 cost to hand, and still have the Fortress around. You have 5 Transmogrifies, you can call them all on the same Fortress and just trash it over and over and gain a bunch of 5s. Fortress also has a nice synergy with Lurker. You play a Lurker and trash a Fortress from the supply, it just goes straight to your hand. You technically never gain the Fortress. It is in your hand. It has snuck its way into your deck without ever being gained, but it's yours for the rest of the game. So whereas it would take 2 Lurker plays to gain anything else, just 1 Lurker can not only gain the Fortress, but gain it to your hand from which you can play it immediately. So that's pretty strong. So Fortress looks pretty good here. It also synergizes, I suppose, with Forager, but that seems like a distant third. I don't think Forager is going to be very worth it here, if I had to guess. Souk, another card that often does very weird stuff. King's Court Souk could make a lot of money. Let's say the last 5 cards you play in a turn are King's Court, Souk, Souk, Souk. How much money do you make off of that? 54 money, I think. Right? 555, 666, 777. That's a lot. This is a colony game, so pulling that off once isn't an immediate win or anything. But that might be the best thing to do here. Maybe the goal isn't to draw a bunch. Maybe the goal is just to get really thin and then line up a bunch of King's Courts and Souks. There's also other synergies, like if you didn't want the Souk, you could Transmogrify Fortress into Souk, take the trash effect for free, then retransmogrify the Souk into something you actually wanted. Stuff to be done there. Lurker often does weird things. King's Court looks like a very important card in this kingdom, and Lurker is a very good way to get that King's Court very quickly. Especially with Continue. Like if you have 1 Lurker in hand, you trash King's Court, Continue, play a Lurker, and then you can guarantee that you gain the King's Court and the bot does not. Rogue often has a lot of trash for benefit synergies as well. that strikes me as probably less relevant here. So suppose you had a gold, somehow, some way a gold got into your deck. You could trash the gold into King's Court with Transmogrify, and then pick up the gold again from the trash with Rogue. I think it often has synergies with some of this other stuff, but I think Fortress probably makes it obsolete. Like, if you can't gain King's Court directly from the trash, and if you wanted to gain a 5 off of Transmogrify or something, you just Transmogrify a Fortress, and then you don't need to regain it because it regains itself. I guess the best case scenario for Rogue would be if you want to make heavier use of the Farrier overpay, to have just like draw your deck by paying a bunch of money rather than getting very thin. Sook wouldn't be good in that scenario because you have a large hand and Sook would make like negative money, and then you'd want a good King's Court target, and you'd do like Farrier overpay plus King's Court Rogues to draw your deck. That could be a thing. Fortress also kind of sort of counters Rogue. If their Rogue hits your Fortress, it just goes to your hand. Yeah, a lot going on here. I think the goal is going to be get very thin, play a bunch of King's Courts and Sooks. I think is the answer. Seems like the strongest thing to be doing here. And you'll score a lot of tomb points naturally off of that. How to open. My bottom 5 cards have a Necropolis, a Lurker, and 3 coppers. Rather see the Lurker in the turn 1 hand probably, because then you can do the little trash Fortress, gain Fortress thing. You can do that turn 2 as well, but then you're triggering a kind of sad shuffle where your Lurker misses the shuffle. So options are, could just buy a Transmogrify, could continue Transmogrify, then call it on the Necropolis, trash Necropolis into a second Lurker, go ahead and gain King's Court directly. Could gain a Sook directly, trashing 2 cards. All of that sounds really good. I could buy something here and then continue gaining Lurker turn 2, doing essentially the same thing. I think I like the Transmogrify play better. And honestly, who needs money? Oh, that's another synergy worth pointing out. Sook plus debt is actually really nice. So it used to be the rules for debt, or you could only pay off debt during the buy phase, which is really awkward with a card like Black Market, where you're buying things in the action phase. You can't buy things when you're in debt, and you used to not be able to pay off debt in the action phase. So if you had 1 debt and 100 money, and you play your Black Market, you still couldn't buy anything because you weren't legally allowed to pay off the debt. That rule changed with the advent of the Rising Sun expansion. Now the rule is you can pay off debt whenever you want on your turn, including in between effects on a card. Whenever you want means whenever you want. So with a card like Sook or Poorhouse, I think these are the only 2 where it's relevant, that gives you money then takes it away again. Imagine you were in 7 debt. You get 7 money. You immediately put that money towards paying off the 7 debt. Then you go to take the -1 coin, but wait, you already spent all your coins. There's no money to lose. And so you can often get extra money out of Sook by using it to pay down debt. I don't know if that'll come up here, but conceivably it could. Anyways, Lurker. I think I like just Sook trash immediately over King's Court, even though King's Court's going to be the better card in the abstract. This hand could be better, could be worse. The bot, poor bot, doesn't even get a turn. That's just cruel. This hand definitely could be better. I'd rather the Overgrown Estate in the turn 1.3 hand. I don't know how the number thing is going to work here. And obviously didn't see the Sook here, but we'll live. Let's just go ahead and do the Fortress thing real fast. Draw that. Didn't draw anything of value. Does continue do anything useful here? Not really. No, I don't think so. There is an argument for continue anyway. You know, my Sook's about to be in my hand next turn. So I wouldn't mind being in debt next turn. But I'm not seeing anything that gives me a huge amount of immediate value. Continue Transmogrify would be good if I drew my Fortress off the top. But there's only, what, a 1 in 6 chance of that? Not that high. I think I still like Continue Transmogrify. We're gonna hope. Yep, did not hit the good draw. Alright, bot is taking its first turn. So what am I doing here? I think I just want to get really thin. So let's do souk into souk. Not play this one. And regain that souk. And pay off the... Actually, there I was going to get the full 7 money anyway. But you can pay off the debt before resolving the -1 coin. Alrighty, let's take another lurker here. I want a fortress. Or mostly I just have an odd number of lurkers, so I'd rather a fortress over nothing. And I really want the King's Courts. I'm looking at these coppers and thinking, man, a souk sure would be nice right now. I still think that's the better answer. It's just hard to pass up on doing this. This deck is remarkably thin. Squeaky clean, in fact. What's my bottom card? Might that be another souk? I think that might be another souk. Is there a way to profitably draw that and play it? I think I could continue lurker, trash a fortress, play the fortress, draw one of the souks. It would cost me 8, but I'd make 7 back just playing the souk. There's nothing that's going to draw me 2, is it? Is there? I'm not seeing it. If I could draw 2 cards and play both souks, that would be beautiful, but I'm not seeing it. Do I want another lurker? Probably so. The lurkers score you a bunch of points. I'm already tied to the bot. That's just how much trashing has happened. So continue, gain lurker, trash fortress, draw souk, play souk. I end up with 5 money, I think, at the end of all that. I want a King's Court. I don't have a great way to gain a King's Court right now. I could just continue another Transmogrify and then double Transmogrify a souk up into King's Court. Maybe that's the best way to get it. I could always overpay a bunch on a Farrier and then just have all of my stuff in my hand. How much would I have to overpay on a Farrier? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stop cards in my deck. So realistically, not that many. What if I overpay 4 for a Farrier? I think I like this idea now. So my bottom card's a Farrier. I think I can do the double King's Court triple souk play here for whatever egregious amount of money I said a second ago. 54, I believe. That's probably the thing I should be doing, right? What's the best way to get that King's Court? So I could Transmogrify Fortress into a 4th lurker, lurk 2 King's Courts, draw them, play all of that. Is there a better way to do that? I could continue to play the extra lurker, Transmogrify the fortress into something else. Maybe that's better. So like turn fortress into souk, like a 4th souk. Continue, gain a lurker, trash a King's Court, gain another King's Court, draw it all. I would be spending 8 more money in that line to get another souk, but that 4th souk does not make me very much money because I'd be playing it before the King's Court chain and it would make like 2 money. I think that's just not worth it. Okay. Now what am I doing? Just need a tad more money to empty the provinces. So I'm thinking just like overpay one more time with Farrier. Then I can gain a 4th King's Court and a 4th and 5th Souk. And win next turn. Just continue. Play that Transmogrify. I suppose I can go ahead and buy the King's Court. Money is like no object here. Take a Souk. After some number, the Souks just stop being worth money, so maybe I want some rogues. Who's to say? King's Court. And let's just overpay by $1 million on Farrier. Is that the right number? I don't know. I don't think it's worth thinking about. Okay, so to play 4 Souks and 2 rogues, I would need 4 King's Courts. 4 King's Courts can play 7 cards if you chain them all together. I've got 4 King's Courts. So I can gain 1 more terminal here, and then I can gain another King's Court off of the lurkers, and then I can gain 2 more terminals. Poor bot. You didn't deserve this, bot. Okay, so let's just take some more rogues, I suppose. Minus 12 for the Souk. Alright, so now I got 8 cards. Take another King's Court. Now I've got enough to play 9 cards, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, yeah. Let's go ahead and gain 1 more of these. Go ahead and reduce my hand size. I could probably make more money if I used continue somehow to gain and play stuff, but that would involve too much thinking. The bot gets to draw the fortress for free, and I get a free point off of that. You're welcome, bot. I'm just going to cycle through the bot's deck 1,000,000 times off of these. Okay, 96. That's a big number. Sure, continue. Let's take a lurker and trash another card for 1 extra point. This wasn't really turn 5. This was turn 7. There were 2 extra turns that weren't being quite counted there. Poor Hardbot. I got 4 turns this game. Yeah, I don't think those 10 points were doing a whole heck of a lot. Hardbot, you were robbed here. I had an unfair advantage. Was not my doing. Anyways, yeah, that was a wild kingdom.